Hey everyone, you're watching We Had That, and today I'm going to talk about a vehicle from Star Wars that's not quite as famous as most of the others. I'm going to talk about the 1981 Star Wars MLC-3 Mini Rig by Kenner. I loved Star Wars figures as a kid from the minute I first saw them. I wanted just about anything I could get my hands on for the first several years that Kenner was making Star Wars toys. By the time The Empire Strikes Back action figures were arriving in stores in early 1980, Star Wars toys had become the main toys I played with, and I was very excited about the new Kenner releases as well as the new movie. After seeing The Empire Strikes Back, I was even more excited. In particular, I loved the scenes on the ice planet Hoth, and I wanted any figures, any vehicles, and any play sets that related to that part of the movie. The main vehicle I wanted was the Snowspeeder. I wanted everything that related to the Battle of Hoth, but especially a Snowspeeder. Unfortunately, the prices on toys was going up because of the cost of plastic, which had been rising over recent years, so the Snowspeeder wasn't as cheap. Kenner knew the increase in prices was going to affect sales of their vehicles and playsets, so they decided to try out a line of small vehicles that were inspired by the designs from the vehicles featured in Star Wars, but not actually anything that George Lucas and his crew had designed. The vehicles were called Mini Rigs. While a Snowspeeder might cost $15 to $20, the Mini Rig vehicles could be picked up at retail for somewhere between $5 and $10, depending on the store. The plan must have worked, because in total, 9 mini rigs were released to go along with The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi toys. The first wave of 3 mini rig vehicles came out in 1981. The photography on the boxes suggested that all 3 vehicles were used on Hoth. Honestly, I wasn't really crazy about 2 of them, but the third one was awesome. The one I liked was the MLC-3, or Mobile Laser Cannon. And because they were so inexpensive, I was able to add one to my collection without having to wait until Christmas. Even though I was a huge fan of Hoth, and the MLC-3 was apparently supposed to be a cold weather vehicle, I played with it in any imaginary environment. It didn't matter if my figures were going on an adventure on a desert planet, or to a lifeless moon, a busy city, or deep into the woods. They would ride around and shoot bad guys in this awesome mini rig. My MLC-3 may not have been as cool as my Snowspeeder once I eventually got one, but its smaller size meant that it was much easier to carry around, and as a result, it certainly saw a lot of action when I was a kid. Aside from just preferring the look of the MLC-3, I also thought it made more sense than the MTV-7 and the PTD-8. Unlike the other two, the MLC-3 was basically a one-man tank. I had seen tanks as a kid. I could wrap my head around that. The MTV-7 looked more like a space steamroller, which just wasn't what I personally wanted in a Star Wars toy. And as a kid, I didn't know what the PDT-8 was supposed to be. By the time the Return of the Jedi mini catalog came out, the PDT-8 wasn't even included, so I must not have been alone. Also, the other 2 vehicles left the driver completely open to enemy fire. The MLC-3 had a dome that would hopefully resist a hit from a blaster. Many of my childhood adventures involved one figure stranded on a distant planet and having to survive against the elements until help arrived. My MLC-3 was capable of protecting its driver from incredibly cold weather, deadly acid rain, toxic sandstorms, or giant man-eating alien creatures. It was so cool to me that this little vehicle had a canopy I could open and close, and I thought the control panel sticker inside was great. The MLC-3 wasn't just a great vehicle for Star Wars figures. It made its way into my adventures for other 3 3/4-inch action figures like G.I. Joe and Micronauts as well. Although these vehicles were strictly designed by Kenner to be toys for the line, and were not at all from the movie, the MLC-3 actually did appear in 1983 in one of my absolute favorite issues of the official Star Wars Marvel comic books. It was number 78, titled Hoth Stuff. This issue of the comic tells one story of what happened to Wedge Antilles after the Battle of Hoth. The drawings of the MLC-3 in the comic actually looked very close to the Kenner toy. However, in general, the mini rigs didn't typically make appearances outside of the toy line. Even though I didn't get to see an MLC-3 in The Empire Strikes Back, I can imagine that they were just out of frame, patrolling around Echo Base. And in my Star Wars adventures, they were the perfect one-man vehicle for battle and survival. Did you have any of the mini rigs as a kid? Do you collect them now? Which one's your favorite? Tell me in the comments below. And please give this video a like, share it on social media, and if you enjoy my content, please subscribe to my channel and hit that notifications bell so that you'll be notified when I post new videos. And one last thing, if you're a fan of toys, you should know about ToyLanta, the biggest toy show in the southeastern United States, held annually just north of Atlanta, Georgia. Visit ToyLanta.com for more information. As always, thanks for watching.